Okay, so I have my solution that was created in the Visual Studio in the last video, and you can see up here it says Test App. That's the folder that was created for my project. So I'm going to open this up and talk about some of the important files that we see. The first thing we see is this file, this solution file. If you want to open your project back up, you should open it by the solution file. That's the best way because it saves, it really will just, everything will fall right into place where you left off. So all the windows that were open, maybe you had the code file open and then you closed it and, went away from the computer. You want to open the solution file and it'll just fall right into place and you'll have that code file open. You can just start working again. So that's a good one to know, and we will open this one back up with the solution file as soon as we look at some of the other files. Okay, so I'm going to go into this folder here, and we have quite a bit. This particular file is the form file, and this is the most important of all of them. The thing is, this is the one with your code in it. The rest of the files can be regenerated if you must regenerate them, but this one cannot. If this is lost, then all your work is lost. So you need to keep a close eye on your form file. Another thing I want to point out here is this bin folder. And this is not such a big deal now, but in the future it will be important to us. I'm going to open this bin and then into the debug folder. And this is basically where your application runs. When you click that green arrow to run the program, this is where the executable file is built and saved. And we can see here the executable file for Test App. If I double click that, there it is. It opens up. Now this can be regenerated. If I delete this, it's not a big deal. Next time I go into the solution and I rerun the program, we'll see a new one, a testapp.exe. So it's not, that is not such an important file because it can be regenerated, but this location is important because if our project is going to be using pictures and maybe sounds and stuff like that, we're going to place those picture files and sound files in the debug folder. It's a very important place for us in this class. So I'm going back here, and one last thing I'll say before I open up the solution. When you create a project or a solution, you have this folder and all the stuff is in the folder. Don't touch it. Treat it as like a package that is all kept together. I mean, you can go in and open up the files, but don't move them. Don't open this up and start moving things around and try to copy the form somewhere else. You're just asking for trouble. Just keep it all together, and you'll make your life easier, in the long run. It's very difficult once you start moving stuff out of here and it's all over the place. This is all connected behind the scenes, and once you start breaking those links, your project isn't going to run. And even sometimes I have difficulties trying to reassemble everything once a student does some damage. So don't touch it. Just keep it all together and don't move files once you have them in place. Okay, so let's see. We're going to open this up by the solution file. Okay, and here it is, right where I left off in the last video. And let's do this. I just want to generate a quick error here. Remember to go to my code. I'm selecting the form in the Solution Explorer, and then I'm going to click this guy, the little View Code button. Okay, and here's a very common error to make in C#. Forgetting the semicolon. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. Alright, so let's say I made that mistake. Already it's on to something, but let's pretend I didn't see that, and I go to run the program. It says there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? No, I don't want to, because there's an error. I've got to deal with it, and that's what you should do. Always know at this juncture. If I say yes, it'll run the last successful build, which was, it'll run the application, but that error is still there. So I'm going to say no. Okay, and then here we have an error list, and I want you to get comfortable with looking at this list. it'll give you, now we're lucky we just have one error. In any given application, you'll probably have at least several errors, okay? And you have to deal with them before you run the application. So what you can do is, they'll all be in a list here. Like this one, it's just a short list of one thing. And then you can double-click that line. I just double-clicked this line of the error, and look, it took me right there to the problem. Okay, and it's saying the semicolon is expected. So that's a very explicit error message. They're not always going to be that explicit. Sometimes you really have to go digging, but it is helpful. But you need to get in the habit of double-clicking the line with the error, and it should take you to that place in the code, or at least to, close to that place in the code.